Hi, I'm Josh Hinds, and this is an excerpt from the Business Networking interview series I've done. If you'd like to read them, check them out a little bit more, you can do so at businessnetworkingadvice.com. The following interview is with Liz Lynch. Now, Liz is the author of Smart Networking, Attract a Following in Person and Online, and she's also a sought-after speaker who brings a practical and insightful perspective to the topic of networking. And the book has connected with a global audience. Liz is a real expert. She's appeared in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, USA Today, as well as Fox Business News, CNBC.com, BusinessWeek.com, again, others. As you can, like I said, she's a real expert. She knows her stuff. You're gonna get a couple of excerpts from the interview we did with her, and I think you're gonna get some great stuff out of it. And I also want to say she's also the founder of the Center for Networking Excellence, and you can visit her directly at networkingexcellence.com. So on with the interview. Question. I asked her, Liz, how do you define business networking, and why do you feel it's important? And Liz's answer to me was, to me, a network is a support system that you can turn to for advice, ideas, information, and feedback. So networking, then, is simply the process of building and maintaining that support system. The main reason you want a support system in your life is to give you maximum flexibility to pursue the goals that you want to pursue and have a high probability of achieving them. For example, say you want to change jobs, start your own business, or do something completely different with your life. As independent-minded as you may be, she says, if a goal is big enough, you can't get there alone. You're going to need the help of other people, and your network is a valuable source of that help. I think that's excellent advice from Liz. Next question I asked her was, can you share a few ideas that someone could put into practice that would help them to improve their business networking skills? And Liz came through again with a great answer. And she said, I think mindset is the most important thing for successful networking. Tactics and technique will, without the right intentions, will leave you spinning your wheels and potentially alienate a lot of people. Once you develop an intuitive sense for building relationships, and just as a side note, that really is a key. It's about building relationships. It's not just about what you can do. Even though you might see a lot of people at networking events that are focused on themselves and they're a lot more focused on getting their business card in somebody's hand, and we all know that type. It's not about that. It's about you building the relationship, you building rapport by finding out the interest of the other person, and ultimately working towards becoming that type of person that when they have a need for that product or service, that they're going to seek out and want to do business with. Okay? So back to Liz's answer. And then she goes on to say, again, tactics and technique without the right intentions will leave you spinning your wheels and potentially alienate a lot of people. Once you develop an intuitive sense for building relationships, you can get almost anything done. Here's a tip for getting it. Think about being a connector rather than a collector. I love that, so I'm going to repeat that again. Again, Liz says, think about being a connector rather than a collector. She goes on to say, when you meet new people, it's not about getting their business card, but about making a personal connection on which to form an authentic and supportive relationship. This means you need to have a conversation and get to know them. Let that be your goal, rather than just collecting another business card. Whether you're networking in person or online, as Liz said, it's important to put your agenda aside. Think about what's going to pull someone into your network rather than what you can push at them. And then I went back and I asked another question and I said, Liz, for some people, knowing where to go to network in the first place is a problem. Can you share some specific resources, events, or places that you have found helpful for meeting new people and growing your business network? And Liz answered, I'm a huge Facebook fan for business networking, but again, I think there's a trick to using it, and some people just don't get it. Liz says, I feel people are more responsive when you put things about yourself such as pictures, status updates, videos, blog entries, etc., and let those who are interested in what you're doing find their way to you, rather than trying to market to people directly by sending messages inviting them to events and groups. It's also important to engage people in conversation by commenting on things that they post on, which helps you start to build rapport. I hope that you've... And then she says, for in-person networking, since there are so many options, the best thing to do is ask your target market where they network and what groups they belong to. And then just as an aside, where she points that out, you can go from then, you can go in to tap into those groups and look to be a part of it and contribute and bring value. Okay, that's just a couple of excerpts from the interview I did with Liz Lynch. Hope you found it helpful and enjoyable. If you'd like to read the complete interview that I did with Liz Lynch, as well as the other interviews in the Business Networking series, I'd like to invite you to visit us at businessnetworkingadvice.com. That's businessnetworkingadvice.com. And if you'd like to learn about the speaking and training that I do, you can do so at joshhinds.com, joshhinds.com. All the best.